All right, listen.
This meme is very real.
So true, Marjorie. And that's really unfortunate. Let's talk about Rogan, okay? So Joe has been at the goddamn freaking forefront, all right? He's been one of the trooper, he's the paratrooper, he's the trooper Koopa who's been out there telling people that getting the vaccine is actually cringe and you really don't need it. He's saying that all you really need to do is work out, drink some orange juice, take a bite of an apple, and go on a jog every other day, and you'll just be perfectly fine. You won't have to worry about it. That is obviously a lie, but it hasn't stopped Joe from perpetuating it on his platform. Now, Joe is big. He's a big boy, all right? If this was happening from some small, no-name loser, I would still be against it, but it's not as important as it is when it comes to someone with Joe's like size, because Joe's platform is bigger than CNN. It's bigger than the Daily Wire. It's bigger than MSNBC. It's bigger than Fox News. It's bigger than Tucker Carlson. He is in a league of his own with his size and how many people actually watch the content. And so it's important to understand that when he does something, it has real world effects, right? Comrade Rogan, how much misinfo will you spread today? Wait, what is this?
Like all of a sudden I'd be trying to prove that I'm not crazy when I knew I wasn't crazy.
Right.
What did I just listen to? What was that? Beast man, somebody run. All right. Yeah, this POV, you didn't get your shot and you catch COVID. Bang, bang. What no vaccine does to a motherfucker. That aside, okay, I think it's important to understand the relevance and importance of what Joe Rogan does with his platform. Okay, it's not just a funny meme; it does affect the actual world. With how many people actually watch him, he's huge. He's big. He's huge. All right. I'm not the only person who thinks like this though, because a panel of 270 doctors criticized Spotify over Joe Rogan's podcast, right? And so they're getting on Spotify. They're getting on that ass, all right? They're beating that ass for not cracking down on Joe for the shit that he pulls on his platform. Now, this happened a little bit earlier, but there was actually an episode that dropped from Rogan, and it went onto YouTube, and that shit got clapped because he was spreading more COVID misinformation. He's been at the forefront of this, like getting your shot is gay. And it's sissy shit. It's for women. A total of 270 U.S. doctors, scientists, and healthcare professionals and professors have written an open letter expressing concern about the medical misinformation on the Joe Rogan Experience podcast, listed as the platform's most popular program. The letter asked the platform to establish clear public policy to moderate misinformation on the platform. This is just it. This is literally just it. Okay, this is all they're asking them to do. Put through policy to where you can actually take action against some of these creators when they spread incredible garbage, all right, on their platform, when they're spewing absolute shit, when they're making the world a worse place, all right? Just simple, really simple things. A lot of Joe Rogan fans got like pissed off about this. They're pissing and shitting and farting their pants. There are a lot who don't think it's like that bad, but there's a decent amount who are busy, very upset over the fact that spreading misinformation is actually not POG. And specifically, the letter calls out the highly controversial episode in the podcast of last December featuring Robert Malone, a virologist who was involved in the mRNA technology that led to some of the leading COVID-19 vaccines, but has been criticized for spreading vaccine misinformation. So this is the guy who tries to say that he specifically made mRNA vaccines, which isn't true. He was incorporated in it. He was a part of a team. He did not make it himself, right? For one. Two, he lies about the vaccine constantly. We talked about this earlier. Basically, his whole thing is that he says he looked at the mRNA like base technology, and he says that inside the base technology there's basically, all right, since he invented mRNA, he knows, all right, so inside is basically, all right, the spike protein that will kill you, all right, it's the Spike Spiegel protein. Any Cowboy Bebop fans in here would understand the Spike Spiegel protein will beat your ass. if you get the COVID shot. Okay, this is just true. These are just factual things of the world. All right, it's like up is up, down is down, gravity is real. Same things all the time. The Spike Spiegel protein will roundhouse kick your heart, and you will get a myocarditis, and you'll fucking die. This is true. So I can make bank slinging homemade kombucha cure, dude. It'd be so unethical. I may be able to. Cowboy Bebop must go. Well, with all of these like really bad knockoffs of it, I think it seems like it may be even on the way out. How unfortunate. So listen, Dr. Malone, and if you didn't know, this is true as well. Dr. Malone is actually Post Malone's uncle. I like Posty, seems like a cool guy and everything, but I'm not sure if I'm going to take all of my like health information from a guy who's that connected to Post Malone. I heard that some people think that Post Malone smells like spoiled milk. You know what I mean? Like, we got to think about these things very very thoroughly. These things need to go. Yes, yeah, he's pre-Malone. This is incredibly true. Many people are saying this. Anyways, with that being said, Rogan decided to get onto his platform with another scientist to talk about COVID again. I don't know how you can talk about this shit 24/7 all the time. We don't even talk about one thing necessarily all the time on this goddamn stream, okay? This is the ADHD cast. I'm jumping from one thing to another every single moment, but like, I can't imagine spending, how many episodes of this has it been so far? What, like 50 or something episodes on this shit? How can you do this all the time? How can you talk about the same thing over and over and over again? How can you do it? I don't understand how they can string this shit together and make people want to watch it. Wild stuff out there, truly. Ooh, this one was a quality. I remember back in the day, one of the best responses.
The whole fucking time, there's been fucking assholes on my street walking around, no masks.
You want people to walk down the street with a mask on?
Let's not start this, Joe.
Do you, though?
Let's not start this. Okay.
Let's start it.
I don't want to start this bullshit. I'm not going to sit here with no medical degree, listening to you with no medical degree, with an American flag behind you, smoking a cigar, acting like we know what's up better than the CDC. All I do is I watch the news once every 2 weeks. I'm like, mask or no mask? Still mask? All right, mask. That's all I give a fuck about. I don't care. I just love how wearing a mask became like this fucking like soft thing that you were doing, like being courteous. Being courteous.
True. Conservatives pissing and shitting and farting their pants over someone politely asking them to have the smallest amount of common courtesy for another human being with doing your best to make sure you don't give them a sickness. All right. They do not want to get down with the sickness. They would like to be unsick. So I don't know why this has turned into like some sort of like pussy shit, or this has become some like big rallying cry. It's just so goofy. It's just so stupid. There's no reason for it. Finally, we've had someone on the platform, not only to just be like, you know, you're a goofball, cue ball. All right. Baldy. You gotta calm down. Now we have someone who's a little bit more versed when it comes to the actual medical science that goes on behind this, who went on to Joe Rogan's platform to set a couple things straight. We can watch some of that. Shark, part of my freedom is being able to infect other people. I need to be able to infect as many people as I goddamn want. Everybody else is a bug chaser. I'm throwing out these goddamn bugs. All right. I'm like the person at the beginning of a fucking Pokemon game. All right. Just slanging these bugs for everyone to go. You know, just, ooh, you get some COVID. You get some COVID. Oh, baby. Oh, it's so hot off the presses. Super spreader right here, man. Super spreader right here. You think you can pull this type of shit? Get the fuck out of here.
For young boys in particular, there's an adverse risk associated with the vaccine. It's like a 2 to 4 fold increase in the instances of myocarditis.
Yes, but you know what?
Hospitalization.
You know that there's an increased risk of myocarditis among that age cohort from getting COVID as well, which exceeds the risk of myocarditis from the vaccine.
I don't think that's true. I don't think it's true. No. I don't think it's true that there's an increased risk of myocarditis from people catching COVID that are young versus increased risk of myocarditis from the vaccine.
No, there.
I don't believe that's true. For one, it is like it's just so wild how some people could be so like wildly misinformed. Joe Rogan is incredibly rich and has every opportunity to understand the world. He just decides not to. He just decides to be baby brain, which I'll just never understand. As you can see, there's an increased risk of this, Joe. Wrong. I just disagree. Why? It's just not true. I haven't read that before. Listen, I'll have you know I've done extensive research. I even went to page 3 of Google. Page 3. Let me tell you, I know a little bit about this shit, okay? Ain't nobody going to the depths of page 3 on Google. My man is dug deep and he's found the truth.
There's both.
Well, let's look that up.
Oh, I am so sorry. Because I forgot. I forgot one thing, which is every single thing that these type of people try to bring up. That's the problem with the vaccine. COVID does, but worse. If you're scared of blood clots, COVID does that, but worse. If you're scared of myocarditis, and if you don't know what myocarditis is, it's like the inflammation of the heart. I think specifically the lining of the heart. I forget. And you know what's pretty wild? Getting a completely uncontrolled infection in your body increases the likelihood of you having worse infection. Who could have seen this coming? It's wild.
No, there is. There's both.
Well, let's look that up because I don't think that's true.
There's
myocarditis more common after.
Oh no. Oh no. He's like, oh no. He said, let's look that up. Oh no. Listen, when you're in a debate with someone and you're like, hey, let's look that up, and this is the face that they give you, just turn the computer off, okay? Just turn it off and be like, okay, all right? Because I'm telling you, it only goes downhill from you here. For you here, all right? It only goes downhill. It does not pick up. Just log off. Say you're sorry. Go home. All right, because it ain't gonna be good. You've activated my fact card. Fuck.
I don't think that's true. Myocarditis more common after COVID-19 infection than vaccination. But is this with children?
Oof.
Yeah, we're talking about young people.
Men and boys aged under 30 after this is what it says.
Oof.
With children is the issue.
Well, no, we were.
Yes, they said boys. Listen, personally, okay, I know some dudes who are over 30 who do act like children, but typically when we speak about children, we're talking about a lot of people who are under 30. Those guys, under 30, men under 30, have an increased risk of myocarditis when they get COVID compared to the shot. And once again, when we're talking about myocarditis when it comes to the shot, it's like a fraction of a percent of people who actually get, it's an incredibly rare thing that people have like blown up into be like some like wild shit. But let me tell you, there's a bunch of people sitting in hospitals right now who can tell you about how bad the actual COVID virus is, okay? The answer to that is quite.
We're talking about 15-year-olds.
Well, we're talking about young children.
Male,
So yes,
child. 12 to 17.
12 to 17 more likely to develop myocarditis within 3 months of catching COVID at a rate of 450 cases per million infection. This compares to 67 cases of myocarditis per million of the same time.
Damn, 450 compared to 66 per million? Dang, that's a big leap. That's a huge leap. I wonder where that came from. Man, it's so wild what happens when you show someone like an actual fact after they've been stewing fucking it's like you know what Rogan has been doing. You ever like get into the tub and you sit there for too fucking long and you didn't take a good enough shower like before you like actually got into the tub, and so it's just like a weird like sort of brown like kind of soup mix that you're goddamn sitting in. You're sitting in like a person soup with like a little film on top. It's just like that little stinky boy. He's just fermenting in there, just goddamn marinating, okay? And it's not good. This is what happens when you pull that bitch out and air him out. And this is what happens. I can't say that's ever happened to me. Can't relate. Yeah, me neither.
Time following their second dose of Pfizer.
Yeah, so you're about 8 times likelier to get myocarditis from getting COVID than from getting the vaccine.
That's interesting.
Now, that
is
said,
not what I've read before, but also it's like when we...
Where did you read that? Where did you read this? Breitbart? Fuck did you read this shit? I'd really like to know. Where did you read that? Where? Who?
Even when we're reading these things, it's like, what are we getting this from? Was this from the VAERS report? But even from the VAERS reports, when they report this stuff, it's like the amount of people that report, it's the underreporting. Man, and then instead of like accepting that he's just wrong, he's going to like cope. Oh, this is like underreported. Everything is under. Listen, if the cases are underreported for getting the vaccine and getting myocarditis, it's the same. It would be the same exact thing for when you get COVID and get myocarditis. There's no reason why one would be would be like less likely to be reported than the other. That doesn't really make any sense. Both these people are going to the hospital. You have to be diagnosed with myocarditis to be put down as you having myocarditis, you know? This is the hill he must die on. You know what? The big thing is people say that this is the hill that he dies on, but the thing is, wrong. This is not the hill that he dies on. Rogan is rich enough to deal with any problem that comes along in his life. This is the This is the hill that his audience dies on. This is the hill that like some random 40-year-old dude who's convinced that you shouldn't take the vaccine dies on. This is the hill that some kid with like a bad immune system who was walked by someone who was like coughing because they decided not to wear a mask, who watches Joe Rogan and thinks it's for pussies, and so they don't want to be a bitch, so they decided to give someone COVID instead. That's the hill, and that's who dies here. Because when it comes to a lot of these people, they can do basically whatever they want, and they can preach down to these types of people who are not in the same position as them any way, shape, or form. I'm sorry, I still remember Donald Trump, after he caught COVID, gasping like a goddamn fish on the steps of the going to like John Hopkins, after going to John Hopkins, where they pumped him with every single like fucking experimental shit that they had. All right, it was like they like raided the goddamn laboratory where Pinky and the Brain were kept in. Okay, pulling this, all sorts of like crazy mythical shit to keep this guy alive because he's the president. I'm sorry, normal people don't get presidential treatment. It doesn't happen. You die. Joe Rogan gets to continue making his program. You die. That's what happens. You all are different. And this is ridiculous to think that it's ridiculous to see a bunch of people fall into this trap of being lied to constantly over and over again when there's no reason for this to happen. There's no reason for this type of suffering. There's no reason to lie about this. Oh, is this it? Yeah, watching this bitch. Look at this fucking bitch gasping like a goddamn wide mouth bass that you just reeled onto the fucking boat floor. Look at this bitch.
No.
Look at that breathing. But the thing is, he's like he's sitting up there. He's mouth breathing. He has to freaking mouth breathe. He hurts so goddamn bad. I love this, but you kind of miss the best part. Oh wait, is this it? Yeah, where he this is the best part of this video, okay? Where Trump takes off his mask, puts it in his pocket, and he winces. He's fuck. Like it hurts so bad for him to try and do this. It hurts so bad for him to try to maintain his like figure as being like this god emperor. He needs to get over it. That he has to put himself and his staff at grave risk simply so he can get a good photo, and it didn't turn out well. All right, I'm sorry. This is not the picture of health. This is not the picture of health from a president. All right, it's not. Look at this guy. Look at this guy, bro. Look at the way he's fucking breathing. He's dying. He's dying. And the difference between these types of things, someone who watches Joe Rogan and someone who's like Joe Rogan, is that Trump and Rogan and Tim Pool and everybody else who catches COVID after spreading this dog shit, they're going to be able to walk away just fine. All right. They can walk away. But the people who listen to them, who trust them, who think that they understand them and who would like to follow in their lead, those are the people who don't get to walk away from this. They turn 180 degrees and moonwalk towards COVID. Okay, it's not good for them. Did Tim Pool get COVID? Yes, Tim Pool got COVID, and the first thing that he did, instead of like going to a doctor, was text Joe Rogan and ask him for help. They bought their own shit. They're high on their own supply, and it's it's just at least they're somewhat genuine. That doesn't being genuine doesn't give them any brownie points for being a bad person. Wait, what? Yes. Yeah, he got COVID, and the first thing that he did,
This meme is very real.
So true, Marjorie. He got COVID, and the first thing that he did was text Joe Rogan and ask him for his like witch's brew fucking concoction that cured him, instead of going to a doctor. Wacky and strange. Normal things from normal people. Tim BLM will kick down your door. Pool got COVID. He did. Oh geez. I mean, he didn't die. Not like I was rooting for him to die. But he didn't die. Is he still frothing about that? Yeah, he still like bitches and moans about how BLM is going to like kill random people or something because we all know in this country, black people have a long history of not being prosecuted by the police. So this basically means they have free reign and can do whatever. I'm very smart. Yeah, also he wants to abolish the police. They're out here, they're doing crazy shit with the police. I want to abolish the police. POV, me. When Tim Pool said he wants to abolish the police. Hey man, that's what HEH can do to you. It turns you into an animal. Turns you into an animal. Bae.